Hello guys, so today we are going to talk about Autocrafters, how to use them, how to build them, and how they work. We'll take a look at a couple examples and yeah, let's get right to it. So first things first, I assume most of you are familiar with how an automatic crafting table works, this little fella, but if you're not, I'll let you in on the secret. So if you open the automatic crafting table, you can see a pretty normal looking crafting table. And you can actually use it very much like a normal crafting table. So I can, for example, make a chest, bam, I have a chest. But if I leave my items in and then use pipes to pump items into it, like I will right now, let's get a chest. So, okay, we place down a chest. This is where our items will come out from. Here we have a wooden transport pipe and it's actually placed the wrong way right now. Why? The wooden transport pipe sucks out items from one block into another. And the side here with the filled in part is the input, whereas the clear pipe is the output. So right now this pipe is set to suck out items from the crafting table to our input chest, which is, well, not what we want. The chest is the input, so the items have to go from here into the crafting table. To fix this, we can use a wrench, right click, and the pipe switch directions. We will also need an engine to power the pipe. And the same situation on the outside, except now we want to take our items from the crafting table into an output chest, where the finished products will be stored in. And we also need an engine. Great. So we have set up our chest. And now if I power the engines and provide some wood, as you can see, the wood starts coming into the crafting table. And the wood inside starts to fill up. Now, as soon as enough wood has come in here for a second chest, so where there will be two everywhere, the crafting table will automatically craft the chest for us, and the second engine will suck it out the other side and we'll be able to collect it. As a little tangent, you actually don't need the pipe here. You can also place input chests only like this, and then the automatic crafting table will take items from this chest. And there we go. Just crafted. And this will keep on going until we have items here. So that's how automatic crafting tables work. Right. Let's talk about these things, starting from the simplest example. Let's say we have a factory and we want to produce these items. So some stairs here, some half slabs, a chest, a door, and a crafting table. What all of these items have in common? Well, if we look at the crafting recipes, they all use exactly the same and only that one item to craft them, which is wood. So we can use a machine like this to craft all of them efficiently in a very small space. Let's walk this down. First, like there, we have our input chest. This is where the input materials are stored. Then we have a line that sends these items into the crafter. Now the first layer for the items is this distribution pipe. The way a distribution pipe works is that you can configure it to send, for example, so right now yellow is 6, blue is 21. What does that mean? Well, it means that for each 6 items this pipe sends out the yellow output, it will send 21 items into the blue input. So as you can see, it's dividing items. So right now, 6 items went in that direction, and then the next 21 are going in the blue direction. Right, one step to the side. Now we have this purple pipe, which is an insertion pipe. The way an insertion pipe works is that if the crafting table has space inside, which there is because, well, none of these are at 64, right? More can always fit in. Then it would just let the items pass through, no problems. But if the crafting table were to be completely filled up, then instead of shooting out the pipe like any other pipe would when it can't fit the items, the insertion pipe instead will redirect the items into a different direction. So in our case, it can go down like this, or it can go to the side like this. Right, so let's suppose, okay, the crafting table is full, we can't craft any more items, so the item comes down. This is when it comes to this iron pipe. The way an iron pipe works is it just directs the flow of items in a pipeline. So an iron pipe, just like the wooden pipe, you remember, has an output and an input. And an iron pipe will have one output and then, well, as many inputs as it has sides. So if the item comes down into the input, it will come out to the output. Now, why is this useful? Well, notice this string of pipes we have here. No matter where the items comes from here, then it will go to this output, to this input, to this output, to this input, to this input, and then it ends up here. If it comes out from here, same situation. Input, output, input, output. So what we have essentially here is a pipeline that no matter where the items come from, always they end up in the same location, which is back at the chest. Now, why would you want to do this? Well, if the crafting table was full, just because this crafting table is full, for example, the stairs, doesn't mean the others are full. So we don't want to throw these items away or stop the entire factory. No, we want to redistribute them among the other items so that all can share and so that the factory runs efficiently. So that's what this will do. If this crafting table is full, these planks will go back into this pipe and end up back at the chest, where later they can be redistributed among all other items, which is pretty neat. And if the distribution pipe decides to send the items in this direction, well, it will just end up at the next crafted item, and if it can use the items, it will use them. So either way, if one of the crafting stages is full, the other ones will get the items for that one redistributed so that we do not lose efficiency. Now, this random wandering within the pipes could cause some inefficiencies. For example, let's say this one is full, the items come in here, this one's full, it comes back down here. But eventually, this is like a casino. Eventually, given enough chance, all items will return to this chest where they will be redistributed among other items. Right, let's talk how to make this. Well, you're obviously going to need the automatic crafting table. You're going to need an insertion pipe, a distribution pipe, an iron pipe, and a wooden pipe, some engines, and this thing I'll talk about later. So first, of course, you gotta decide what items you want to craft, standard stuff, but let's just recreate that factory. So we start by placing the crafting tables, as many as we want. This can go on for forever. Then let's place the output pipes. This is where the items, the finished ones, will come out. And let's place the engines. If you notice the engines tend to go to one side, no problem, use the wrench, we can realign them. Now, we will put the second wooden pipes here. And on top of them, we will place a gate. A gate is this single thing right here. Now, why do we need this gate? And why is it useful? Well, of course, not only the crafting table can fill up, but the output chests can also. If we are crafting a lot of some of the items, then, this chest can fill up, and at that point, where do the items go? We don't want the crafting table to keep crafting, or they'll just pop out of the chest and despawn, and that will be the end of it. So we need some sort of stop to say, hey, the production output is completely full, stop crafting more items or they will get wasted. Well, that's what the gate is for. If we click on it, there's a simple menu. Here, we select a condition. So in our case, if there is space in the inventory so we can still craft more, we want the gate to emit a redstone signal. And as you can see, that turns on the engine. If I set it, for example, if the inventory is full, then, well, the inventory is not full now, so there is no output. Right, let's configure this to how it worked before space inventory. And we do the same for all the gates down the line. Now notice this gate doesn't have a chest near it, so I actually won't be able to find the emit if space and inventory setting. There has to be a chest on top before this setting appears. So we do the same for all. Okay, our output is completely finished. Now let's place the insertion pipes, the distribution pipes. Oh, and a final note, at the termination, so to speak, oh, there's actually an error here. At the termination, oh, it's okay, but at the termination of the pipeline, you can just put a normal pipe like here, and then another normal one to the return path. I'll explain why here. So we finish that, get our iron pipes, and finish this. Now, we still need to configure all the iron pipes and all the distribution pipes. So let's get the pipeline here. This will be our input chest. And let's grab another wooden pipe to suck out the items out of it. Like so. Engine, lever, bam. Okay, so first order of business, let's configure the return line. So we want all the items to go in this way. So output needs to be here, output needs to be here, output needs to be here, output needs to be here. Configured. Now, for the distribution pipes, we actually need to do some math. So we know what items are crafting, right? And they each take a separate amount of items to craft. So if we add all of these together for all items down the chain, in our case, it's 27. I calculated it before. So it would be probably useful to configure the crafting tables beforehand, right? But I'll make an example. So here we start with the stairs. The stairs need 6 wood to be crafted. So we open the distribution pipe. The output to the stairs is yellow. So yellow gets 6 because we need 6 for the stairs. Now, blue is the line that passes the items and shares them among the other crafters. So how much do we set here? Well, if the total is 27 and the stairs take 6, then we need to set 27 minus 6, which is 21. And for all the other outputs, we set 0 because we're not using them. Now let's jump to the next crafter. The next crafter will be crafting, well, let's just say the floor, the little half slabs. The half slabs need 6 woods to craft. So once again, we set yellow to 3. Now, the blue. We have already used up 6 here, and another 3 here. Here we had 21, which is what was remaining for the other ones, right? Because 27 minus 6, which is what this took, 21 to the next one. Well, the situation repeats here. This crafter needs 3, so we set, what do we set the previous crafter to, which is 21 minus 3. We end up at 19. And the same situation repeats down the line. So this one will be the door. The door needs 6. So we set this to 6. 21, oh wait, 19, right? Yeah, 19. 19 minus 6 is 13. Okay. This will be the chest. The chest takes 8. So this gets an automatic 8. And 13 minus 8 is 5. So we set it like here. And I fucked something up. There's a calculation error somewhere. Damn it. Right, 27, hold up. 27 minus 6 is 21. This is correct. 21 minus 3 is 18. 12. 4. Now it makes sense. And the last output, which is 4 items, is for a last item, which will be the crafting table. Okay. So if we give this wood, the engine will start pulling the wood out. And at first we'll see what it decides. Okay, so it starts by sharing the items to the other pipes. So there will be 21 items that come out to the blue. And I see this repeats across all pipes. So we'll probably start with the crafting table. There's a misconfiguration here. I forgot to remove the other outputs. Okay. So yeah, we're starting with the crafting table, I see. And, you see, 4 items have been sent this way. So now the pipe has switched and will set 8 items that way, which is towards the chest. It has done so. Not yet. But it will send 8 items this way, craft the chest, then to the next one, blah, blah, blah. And it goes in this, fashion coming towards the beginning of the pipeline. And of course, if something is full, the return will come out the bottom pipe. I hope that makes sense. Let's move on to the next crafter. This is a slightly more advanced version of the crafter, and it's used in situations where there's one common item among all crafted items, in our case the alloy wire, and then some other different item or items, but the condition is that that the different items must all go to different crafters. So for example, yes, there's orange wool that we need to get as a resource, but only one crafter uses it. Orange wool does not appear anywhere else, and so is true for the other colors. This is a condition. This crafter will not work if we don't respect this rule. Right, so now we have 2 input pipes. One of them is for the different items. And let's follow that pipeline. So the items will come out and they get to a diamond pipe. A diamond pipe is essentially a filter. If we open the diamond pipe, what do we see? Well, we see that to the black input, to the black output, the pipe will send red alloy ingots and orange wool, which is what this crafter needs, because the black output is at the bottom. So okay, let's say orange wool comes in here, it comes out of the black input, goes to the insertion pipe. If there is space, goes into the crafter. If there is not, returns down here and back into the correct stage. Okay, that makes sense. But what about this section here? Well, this is for all the items this crafter doesn't need. Because remember, down this one pipeline, there are many items zooming around. There's green wool, there's pink wool, there's blue wool for all the other colors. But this one doesn't need this wool. So we want to send it to the next crafter over. So that's what we do. So if any of the other colors come in, the pipe will say, well, I don't need this for my item. Let's send it to the other crafter down the line. And the same pattern repeats for every single one until the very end. Now, there's also this red alloy ingot, which, as we discussed, exists in all crafting recipes. Well, this is where the distribution pipe comes in. So the red alloy ingots have their own separate chest. They will come in here and they will be distributed in the exact same fashion that we distributed the wood here. So one goes to this this crafter, well, it needs 3, but all of them need 3. So we can simplify it. Okay, 1 goes here, then the next one over comes here, 1 goes there, you know. This, you see, 4, 3, 2, oh, there's an error, 2, 1, and it goes to the output. So again, we're splitting up the resources. So for every 1 red alloy ingot that comes to this crafter, 4 others will come out the blue side to the other 4 crafters. So the items are distributed evenly. Now, once the item comes out of the yellow line, it comes again into our diamond pipe, which is set to send the alloy wire down into the insertion pipe into the crafter. Now, you may have wondered what will happen if, okay, this is full and the item tries to come out that way. What will happen? Well, the diamond pipe will send it straight back down, because what can come out from here? Well, it can either be a red alloy wire or orange wool, or stuff from any of the other crafters. So let's consider it. If orange wool or the alloy wire comes from here, it will go into this pipe and be sent straight back down, or it will either go here, get pulled back down. This cycle can repeat forever, but in practice, eventually, again, given random chance, it will end up in this pipe. Or it can go that way, and then either, again, comes down here, gets sent back down, or comes out to the output, or the other crafter may use it. For example, let's say this crafter needs alloy wire. It will take the alloy wire very happily and use it for its production. So, while yes, this is not the most even or precisely controlled system when the different crafters are full, we will never lose any single item in the pipeline. If a piece of wood comes in, that piece of wood will get used to craft something eventually. This is not the most efficient system, and this is what I want to say, for starters. Unless you have a pipeline like this, don't go looking for speed in these crafters. If you need really, really high volume production, unfortunately, you gotta do it the old-fashioned way with individual crafting tables and setups like this. This is a much more compact way to do it, but it's slower, just because of the random wandering when the different outputs get filled up, because people use different colors of wire in different amounts, right? Such is reality. Okay, so if you flip this on, actually let's follow only one item at a time. So we start with the alloy wires, which come into the crafter and into the distribution pipes. And here the exact same pattern starts happening as was happening with the wood earlier, which is that the items start getting shared. And we'll probably start with the final one once again. And notice that this time we need this weird-ass iron pipe contraption at the end. How this works is that, if the blue items come in here, they will go to the output, go down, and go down here. And same as here, we'll connect 2 pipes into one output. And then the output pipe is down here. It's just a way to have 2 different pipes next to each other. Though you could also have a stone pipe and a cobblestone pipe, like so. But that doesn't work because the stone pipe doesn't want to connect into the insertion pipe. Oh, and we actually missed a full pipe here. Hold up, let me restore this to how it was. See? All of these crafters have the alloy wire completely full. So when they get distributed the different items, you see they get rejected, and most common than not, they come into this pipeline, which is pretty cool, get returned back, and go into the chest. Okay, and of course this distribution trick, see? They get distributed, come into the filters, go down, and into the respective crafters. Right, let's turn on the items and they will start flowing. And now this filtering step is happening. So this is a piece of green wool. We don't need green wool here, we don't need here. We need it at the green crafter over here. So we will see this piece of green wool go straight past these first two crafters, which don't need it, thanks to this selection, until it finally reaches a crafter that does need it, which is the green cable crafter, where it goes down. And this repeats for all other cables. I could show you how to build this, but it will kind of be a lot of time. And the principle is exactly the same. So when you build it, you put to the black output, which is, the bottom output or whatever goes to your crafting table, right? You put the items this specific crafting table needs. And then to the next crafter over, you send all the items you don't need. As for the distribution pipes, if a lot of items are common, we send to the output that goes to the diamond pipe as many items as this crafting table needs. And then to the other one, we send them, the total amount of items minus what this one needs, which is the exact same way we did the wooden crafter over here. I hope that makes sense. If you have some more questions, just shoot me a DM or ask questions, I can explain more. But again, this type of dual input crafter only works, and I want to stress this, only works if we have items where one item is common between all the crafting recipes, and then the rest of the items in the crafting this recipe are all completely different between the crafters. Only then does this work. Efficiently, that is. Right, let's move on to the final crafter. This crafter has only one input line, yet it shares the diamond pipes and the distribution pipes with this crafter. In fact, it's exactly the same crafter, except we put the items in the distribution pipe. Now, what is this crafter used for? Well, it's used for when all the crafting recipes are different and they all use different items. This particular crafter is one straight from the semiconductor factory. We have different logic cells over here in the final crafted chest. And as you can see, they all need different items. So for example, this one needs a silicon chip, this one doesn't, but both of them need the stone pointer. So much is for the stone wafer, which actually all of them need. So how does this work? Let's follow the items. All of the items, all of them, will come together for this pipe into the crafter. Now this is a distribution pipe, except this time its setup is really simple. We just say, hey, one item goes here, and then the number of crafters, so 5 minus 1, comes out to the other. So we're basically giving each crafter one item. Each. Okay. Well, that doesn't mean, though, that the crafter will make use of this item. For example, this is an AND gate. What if a silicon chip comes through here? Well, the distribution pipe has no idea with what items it's doing. So it will send the silicon chip down to the AND gate, the NOT gate crafter, even though it doesn't need it. That's a problem. So this is where the diamond pipe comes in. So the items come here. And again, the situation is exactly the same as the crafter I showed you before. If our recipe needs an item, then sure, we send it to the crafting table. If it doesn't need it, we send it to the next crafter over. So for example, in our case with the silicon chip, no recipe here needs it except for the very last one, their state cell. So what will happen is if a silicon chip comes in and gets randomly distributed to any of the other crafters which don't need it, they will say, well, I don't need it, send it to the next crafter over, and it will go bam, 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 until it lands at a crafter which does need it, and it will make use of it. But if an item comes through, like for example the stone wafer, which this crafter does need, then it goes, well, I need it, send it to the bottom, and it will make use of it. And again, if the crafting table is full, it will either get sent to the return line, will it then get redistributed among the other items, or it will go back up to the top where it will be sent straight down back again to do its random selection once again, or it will be sent to the next crafter, which may or may not be able to use it. Whole cycle repeats. It's a random coin toss, but again, eventually, if an item comes in, eventually it will get used to craft something. Again, the point of these crafters is not to be fast, like ridiculously fast. They're pretty good, but they're not super fast. Their point is to be small. Because if I were to do the semiconductor factory with its 67 items as all separate crafting tables, we'd need like half of the server dedicated to this one factory, which of course is a no-go. Right, so let's start our example. We'll start with the silicon chip, and it will start coming through here, and let's also send something that the crafters need, like the stone wafer. So the items start coming out. You see this again, this combined iron pipe situation where all the items go in one way. So again, both of these items get mashed into the same input pipe, and they start coming towards the crafter. Now the first item on our block, well, first of all, the distribution pipes will start distributing the items. Let's start with that. Let's see how it randomizes. Oh, so it sent a silicon chip into this crafter, which doesn't need it. So it passes it to the next crafter over, which doesn't need the silicon chip. So it passes it to the next crafter over, which doesn't need the silicon chip. So it passes it to the next crafter over, which doesn't need the silicon chip, until it finally ends up at this crafter, which does use it. So it comes back down into the crafter, where the crafter uses it, except that in this case it's full. Oh, see, the items went to the side. They try to come up the top. They get sent in a loop. Oh, actually went to the output pipe. I mean the return pipe, whatever. Let's now take a look at the wafer pipe, at the wafers. So, I can't silicon chip. We've seen this before. So now, a silicon wafer comes in, and this crafter does need it, so it comes back to the brown output and comes inside. So again, the design of this crafter and how you design it is exactly the same as this one. So we set the distributor so that each crafter gets one item. So now, if there are 5 crafters, 1 to the yellow, 4 to the blue, then 1 to the yellow, 3 to the blue, and it goes down the line until you reach the end. Then we set the diamond pipes so that to the crafters we send the items they need, and to the next crafter over we send the items they don't need. We put the distribution pipes, the insertion pipes, and then we do the return line, where the items get redistributed back into the chest to be used again. Because, just because, for example, because we need the return line, because just because, this crafter didn't need the item because it was all full, doesn't mean the rest doesn't need it, so it will go back in here, get redistributed again. Again, it's random chance. Sometimes it will go work really fast, sometimes it doesn't. It's a random coin toss, but eventually all items will get crafted. But, I keep saying eventually and whatever, so is it really that slow? Well, actually it's not. I've ran these for quite some time, and they're pretty efficient for how simple they are. Sure, they aren't the fastest thing in the world. Again, a simple crafter would be a lot faster, but they're a pretty good compromise considering how freaking small they are. And again, you can expand these to the moon and beyond, with one exception. This is how many slots per output a diamond pipe has. So all of your different crafting recipes combined cannot use more different items than you have slots here, which is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So all of your crafting recipes cannot use more than 9 distinct items. If they don't, you're golden and you can expand this unto infinity. And that's it for the Autocrafters. If you have some questions or other inquiries, I will be more than happy to release my address. Please note though, I am a very dangerous person and regularly disobey the law. Bye!